Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be covering an article called Post-Pandemic Poverty is Rising in North America's Suburbs. It is published on the Brookings website and it is written by Elizabeth Kneebone and Alan Berube. Let's start off. Since the early 2000s, suburban poverty has been increased at twice the rate of urban poverty. And after COVID-19 pandemic, things only got worse. A lot of people lost their jobs, businesses shut down, and families that were once financially stable found themselves struggling to get by. Many people who never thought they need help are now having to rely on food banks, government aid, and community support just to make ends meet. One of the biggest challenges is that the suburbs weren't designed for this. Unlike cities, suburbs don't have as many public services, like shelters, food banks, and affordable housing options. Public transportation is also really limited, which makes it harder for people to get jobs or access to resources. That means that if someone in the suburbs is struggling financially, it is much harder for them to find the help that they need. Let's talk about why this is happening. There are a few major reasons why poverty in the suburbs is rising so fast. One of the biggest reasons is job loss. A lot of suburban jobs, especially in retail and service industries, disappeared during the pandemic. While some jobs have come back, many haven't. And some people who worked those jobs are struggling to find new ones and that pay enough to support their families. Another reason is the cost of living. A lot of people moved to the suburbs because they thought it would be cheaper than living in the city, but in reality, the cost of housing, groceries, and transportation in suburban areas has gone up a lot. For example, if you don't have a car, getting around the suburbs can be really, really expensive because there aren't as many buses or trains. Gas pricing and rent have also been rising, which puts even more pressure on the families that are already struggling. There's a big stigma around needing help in the suburbs. When people think of suburban life, they picture nice houses, good schools, and safe neighborhoods. But that's not the reality for everyone. There are families living paycheck to paycheck, people facing eviction, and kids going to school hungry. Because there's that idea that poverty only happens in cities, a lot of people in the suburbs feel ashamed to ask for help, even when they need it. But how is this affecting people, right? The increase in poverty is affecting families in so many different ways. More people are relying on food banks more than ever. And many of those food banks are struggling to keep up with demand. Schools are seeing more kids who don't have enough time to eat at home, which makes it harder for them to focus and learn. Homelessness is also rising in suburban areas, but because there aren't as many shelters or support systems, a lot of them are forced to stay in motels, live in cars, or move in with family members in overcrowded homes. Mental health is another big issue. The stress of not knowing if you can pay rent or afford groceries takes a huge toll on people. Families who are financially stable before the pandemic are now struggling, and many don't know where to turn for help. Let's talk about what can be done. The good news is that there is always help. Community organizations and local governments are stepping up to provide more resources like food banks, job training programs, and affordable housing options. But there's still a lot of work to be done. One of the biggest things we need is better public transportation and suburban areas. If people can't get to work because they don't have a car, they can't make money. Expanding bus and train services would make it easier for people to get jobs, go to school, and get essential services. We also need to raise awareness. The more people talk about suburban poverty, the more likely it is that real solutions will be put in place. A lot of government assistance programs focus on cities, which means suburban communities often get overlooked. By spreading awareness, we can push for more funding to support for struggling families, no matter where they live. The moral of the story is that poverty isn't just an urban issue, it's everywhere. The idea that people in the suburbs, are always financially stable isn't true anymore. More and more families are struggling to afford basic necessities, and many of them don't know where to turn for help. But by taking about it, supporting local organizations, and pushing for real changes, we can make a difference. If you want to learn more, check out the Brookings Institution in the article linked below. Thanks for listening, and if it is something that surprised you, share it with someone else. Because the more we talk about it, the closer we get to finding solutions. Thank you.